All right, what is going on, my people? Yes, you are hearing it correctly. This is Fermi coming to you on a Sunday. A Sunday? Yes, a Sunday, with a little bit of bonus content from my interview this past Friday with Walid Azami, the photographer of the stars, as I have coined him. Today, I really wanted to drop on everybody out there a special edition of our show because when I chatted with Walid, he had so much insight to share, so much knowledge to drop. And honestly, our conversation went longer than a normal interview on my show. Instead of just editing some of these gems out, I decided it would be an excellent opportunity for me to drop a little bit something extra here on a Sunday for your enjoyment. I hope that you enjoy these value bombs that he drops regarding really developing your sixth sense and your ability to tap into your instinct. You know, when you get that gut feeling, when you just know it's time for this or for that, it's that gut feeling that he really calls the sixth sense and points out is imperative for artists and creatives to tap into. This sixth sense is developed from a young age. So for those of us that are parents, I think it's also really important to think about how we're fostering it in our youth. And even if you do not have kids, just think about young people coming up in the generation below you and how you're helping them to develop it. Let's get into the bonus content with Walid and myself right now.
Yep, because they could never be you. So excuse me for completely butchering this up because I've been in so many recording studios, but I don't know what the hell those dials do, but I think it looks so cool, but I don't know what they do. But you have to be connected to your instincts. If you're not, you're done. And it's like, can I elaborate on this for 3 minutes?
For sure, yeah.
Do you have time?
Please.
Okay. Because this is big for me. Somehow, somewhere along the way, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, has become a bad word. And I'm tired of that. Okay. So whether you want to call it God or the universe or Allah or Buddha or energy or, Mother Nature, whatever it is, there is something bigger than all of us. Mm-hmm. And we're the only living species on this planet that teach our young to kill their sixth sense. No other living creature on this earth teaches their young to get rid of probably one of the most important senses they'll ever have, that fight or flight, that sixth sense.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, so I'm telling people to redevelop this skill. When you look at it, no matter what country you're born in, no matter what religion, what gender, what socioeconomic level, one of the first three words any human learns is the word no, respectively to, their own language and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And we say no from a place of ego and also to streamline them into life, So we'll say things like, no, boys don't cry, or be a good girl. We don't do that. We don't make that much noise. And we're constantly teaching children to say no and to shut them down. And artists are already we're the weird ones, and that's a beautiful thing. So we are teaching them right off the bat to say no because other people might think you're less.
Right.
No, be a strong little boy. Don't cry. Be a good girl. We don't make a lot of noise and everything else, right? So that's why babies learn no so fast because they're always told no. And so we have to learn to redevelop that sixth sense. And it's like any muscle. You're going to try a lot. You're going to fall on your face a lot, but it's a skill you need to have. So when you are a musician of any sort, a producer, writer, whatever, and you sit down with somebody and they want you to create with them. If that gut feeling tells you no, listen to it. That's the most direct line to you and that higher power, whatever you believe in.
Right.
Okay. So when something says pick up, how many times have you thought about somebody a lot and then they text you or they call you and you're like, what? I was just thinking about you.
For sure.
There's a connection there. That's why, Sorry, there's also a motorcycle going outside. Let me pause.
I don't hear it.
So there's a connection there. When something tells you, don't get in this car right now. So when something tells you, don't go into that alley, don't get into this car right now, that's a higher power telling you what's best for you. So so I would tell any artist, doesn't matter if you're a musician, if you paint, if you take pictures or video or dance, whatever, trust your instincts. My instincts have gotten me some of the biggest deals of my career.
Right.
I literally go, how I got J.Lo was, I was like, okay, I want to reach out to Jennifer. They've reached out to me 5 or 6 other times.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to their office. I have not gotten the job. I've come in second constantly. Okay. So I was like, I really want to work with J.Lo on this Vegas residency thing.
Yeah.
So I put it in my mind. I do the manifestation thing. I meditate on it. I'll listen to her music, to really feel connected to her. And then I will wait. And on that email, I sat for 2 days. It sat in my draft box, and all of a sudden I'll get this feeling that just says, email her now.
Yeah.
And I go into my draft. I'll put in the email address so it doesn't accidentally send out, and I'll send it. And within 5 minutes, I get a response back from her manager saying, that's so weird. We were just thinking about working with a photographer for this project.
Wow. You set the intention, you made some kind of bond, you listened to the music, and you got the sense.
Yeah. So I know that sounds like a really easy recipe, but it's like, I just encourage your listeners to develop their sixth sense. Even if the money is more for a certain client, but your gut feeling says no, please listen to that gut feeling.
I love that.
There's something else out there for you that's better for you.
Absolutely. I love that, Walid. Thank you so much for sharing that part. I mean, to me, that was as much value you added before, one of the biggest pieces, right? So you're really right now recommending that everyone just get in tune, kind of forget that conditioning and that training that our parents and our society around us has put in there to say no to our emotions and actually say no to logic sometimes, right? So how do you, get in tune with yourself when somebody's asking you to do something that doesn't feel right creatively? Or how do you actually have more faith, more spirituality, and more of a connection with everything you do and setting your intentions?
Yeah, and you don't have to believe in God. You can believe in energy. I never want to judge anyone for believing something different, Mm-hmm. It's just that you have this gift that's built in, and we're shutting it down.
For sure.
I don't get it. To me, it's like flying an airliner with one of its engines shut off. Mm-hmm. No, we're not doing that,
Yeah. No, I mean, as a parent myself, I totally feel that, it's just something that I feel like we've been trained to do in our culture is to say no. You try to quiet down the emotions, and that really is putting a damper on their creativity and just their actual true being, I think, for the long run. It's something to definitely consider and to think about. So whether you're a parent like myself or a creator like myself, really no matter what you're doing, this could make a huge impact.
I hope so. And it's like, and my guess is the reason why you say no to your kids or child, it's because you want them to have an easier life. Mm-hmm. And to do well and to not go against the grain, right? Probably so life is easier for them.
Sometimes. I mean, I'm a little bit of a different thinker, but yeah. There's that pressure, like no matter who you are, and not to get too off track, but no matter who you are, including myself, I don't really care that much about what society thinks, but there's just a little bit of pressure no matter where you are kind of on that scale of conforming or not conforming. You know what I mean? There's a point where you guys are being too loud in a restaurant, or you're not staying seated during class, or whatever it is, where you're like, okay, there's certain boundaries, right? And I think depending on where you are on that scale, it kind of changes where you will bend and start saying no.
I'm glad you said that, because I don't want people to think that I'm a tyrant with kids, and I am very much about manner. No, I exactly. I'll tell my nieces, I'm like, that's noise pollution, yeah. And it's like, not everyone should hear your conversation over lunch or something. It's a weird balance, and each child and each home is different. But Yeah, I'm not saying don't teach kids the parameters of society, because they have to obviously, blend in and win. But sometimes we tell them no, because it's only out of ego.
Yeah.
And I think especially with females, we tell them to be quiet, because girls shouldn't be loud, or they can't run around as much as a little boy, even if she's not making a lot of noise,
Right.
and that's what I'm talking about. Or we tell little boys not to express themselves, which I think is such a crime. So anyways, I'm agreeing with you. I just didn't want anyone to think that I was like okay with kids running around, because
You will go crazy at the buffet wherever you're at if you
oh
see
my
that.
God. Yeah,
So, look,
yeah.
I really appreciate those insights. I feel like Wu Tang or something, music producers' treasure boxes for the babies right now. So, any of my musician followers who have kids, hopefully that advice was impactful. I think it definitely raised up some good things to keep front of mind for myself personally. So, I hope that it impacted you as well.